Welcome to the 7th episode of the ACPM, and the ACPM is the Association of Construction Project Managers. It is a voluntary association of the South African Council for Project and Construction Management Professions. I know so many acronyms. So it is the ACPM, it is a voluntary association of the SACPCMP. This is our 7th episode, and I don't know, Anthony, do we still say compliments of the new year? Because this is our first, okay, compliments of the new year from the ACPM. And today we have an exclusive interview with Thabang Mbembele, who's our guest today. Thabang Mbembele is a full member of the ACPM, meaning as an individual, and his company, PrCPM Group, is a corporate member of the ACPM. And Thabang is also a professional construction project manager and a professional construction mentor. Welcome, Thabang.
Thank you.
And with you today, you have Nomvula Rakolote, the CEO of the Association of Construction Project Managers, and my host, Anthony AFORDOFE, the president, the only president today.
Thank you, Nomvula.
And together we will be engaging Thabang Mbembele on his recent win. I don't want to say any further. Just stay tuned in and you will hear all of the details. I am so excited about this interview today. Anthony, before I get carried away, let me give over to you.
Thank you so much, Nomvula. Thabang, welcome.
Thank you, Anthony.
Welcome to the hot seat. We've been waiting for you for quite a while. So let's just have a conversation. We relax, we have a conversation, and I think everything else will follow after that. So I'll jump right into it. You've had a long span career so far, from being a junior quantity surveyor to where you find yourself becoming a multi-award winning CEO under the ambit of PrCPM. Would you take us through the journey and what has transpired from then till now?
Yeah, thank you once again for having me today. So as you rightfully mentioned, I actually started off as a quantity surveyor. I started at a company here around here, Menlyn. It was one of the prominent QSN companies back then in the days, Dulu Group. And as a student quantity surveyor, I think I realized then that life is more exciting on the other side, which was on the project management side. I then transitioned to project management. In fact, for those of you who don't know, that's where I met Anthony. Back then, he was my manager. I was a candidate project manager. And he was my senior. So if you think I'm a good project manager, please look at Anthony. And the opposite is equally true as well. So that's how long I've known Anthony, and that's how much that's where I learned my project management. And from there, I joined a state-owned entity. Now it's called PrCPM, but back then it was called Intersite, where I worked as a facilities manager to a certain extent and as a project manager. In 2007, PrCPM Consulting CC was born. And in 2009, it was then converted from a CC to a PTY Ltd. And that's the journey. In a nutshell, 16, 17, 18 years later, we are here, still at PrCPM. Still feels weird when I'm filling application forms for whatever, be it a tender or whatever, and they say, give us your work experience.
Yes.
And I realized that I've spent more time at PrCPM than at any other place.
Yes.
I actually can't even remember some of the other places that I might have spent time at. Yeah.
And today we are here.
And here we are today. Here we are indeed.
Multi-award winning CEO.
No, that's great, Thabang. I think we always like to understand where the journey started, especially for our viewers as well. I think it's critical that they know the stepping stones to where you find yourself. I think it's exciting stories that inspire other people behind us as well. So I think that is another key to why we are actually hosting this podcast, is to educate the industry as well and to celebrate those who are winning. So thank you very much for that answer. Second to that is, it's been a long journey. Surely there's been ups and downs on the journey. In terms of your key lessons learned during the journey that shaped your leadership style and approach to project management, if you can give us some few insights around those key lessons that shaped your leadership skills.
So, Anthony, through adversity, you get to appreciate and learn that your leadership style will also change. It will always adapt as and when the circumstance requires. I'll give you an example. I wear various hats in the built environment. In fact, I think in the entire value chain of the built environment, I'm probably active in 90% of all those spheres. So in my hat as the CEO of PrCPM, you'll find that my leadership style there is more inclusive, is more consultative, purely because they are more interested in succession planning. I'm more interested in mentorship, converting candidates into professionals.
Yeah.
So they're the kind of leadership that I need to exhibit there is very different to the hat that I wear when I'm a contractor on site. When I'm a contractor on site, when I'm a property developer on site, unfortunately, that's more like a dictator, if I may call it that. Because there, the audience that I would be talking to, it would be, I want this in this way on this date, full stop. Let's not engage any further.
Yeah.
So it's a bit different. So we adapt as we go along. And it's been through, as I mentioned earlier, because of various challenges that we go through, that we find ourselves here and are changing our leadership styles. We've gone through COVID, we've gone through global recessions, we've gone through basically situations that have made us realize that maybe this style is not applicable for this era that we are in.
Yeah.
I'll give you a simple example. Right now, as we speak in South Africa, we've got a serious budget constraints. Various government departments are not spending for whatever reasons. We've got the GNU and so forth. That has also come with its own dynamics.
Yeah.
And as a leader, you need to find ways to navigate and move around those turbulent waters. And as you're moving, make sure that you're pulling those behind you with you, and making sure that you chart the path and make sure that the way is nice and clean for everybody who's coming behind you.
Yeah.
So it's never fixed, Anthony. It's never fixed. It's I'll call it, even to a certain extent, situational.
Yes. Yes. No, great stuff. Great stuff. Nomvula?
No, thanks for that. I would just like you maybe to then share with us, like, what are the biggest challenges that you faced in your early career, and how did you overcome them? Because, immediately now we also mentioned the issue of adversity and so on. So what were your biggest challenges and how did you overcome them? And I'm specifically also saying early in your career, because I want the young professionals that are listening out there to be able to know that, you don't just become, but it's a process.
So it's a fairly simple answer to that. I think most of us struggled with this. Exposure and access to market.
Yeah.
That sounds like a very simple thing you could ask for, but everything is freely available, freely accessible. It's not. You actually have to do a lot more. You need to go out there. You need to work hard for it. You need to network. You need to find a mentor, find somebody that can show you the route, find a good leader, somebody that you can look up to, somebody who's willing to also grab you by the hand and walk you through the chain and just, walk with you and show you how it's done. So exposure and access to markets, that was my biggest challenge. And when I say access to markets, it doesn't only count as PrCPM consulting, but even as an individual looking for work. You need to have mentors and people that actually you can lean on, people that will give you a certain amount of social capital to say, listen, I've known this young man from maybe first year as my mentor. Anthony, would you please just consider his CV with your next appointment? That's what social capital does for you. And those are challenges that one struggled with earlier on in their careers. But we are making sure that because we struggled with those things, we're making sure that those that come after us do not have the same challenges. So we are actively addressing such things.
Just a follow-up on that, because, I'm quite aware of some of the initiatives that we are busy with. Would you say that today you are the leader that you wish you had? And I know that there's quite some initiatives that you are doing based on what we are saying, obviously within your means.
Nomvula, because you are privy to a lot. You are privy to me personally. For those who don't know, I've got a very close relationship with Nomvula, so she knows a lot of our strategy, and that question, I think it's informed by that.
Yes.
So in short, Anthony, to answer Nomvula's question directly, I'm not yet the leader I wish I had,
Okay.
but I'm continuously working towards being that guy. So it's a daily struggle. On a day-to-day basis, when I wake up, I just wish to be better than yesterday. Ultimately, when I check out of this industry, I then should be the leader I really should have had when I got into this industry. Ideally, the leader I would have wanted in the industry would have already pushed me in high school, would have walked the journey with me from high school, would have walked the journey with me in varsity, would have walked the journey with me in my early careers, and so forth and so on. And that's what we are trying to address now. With so many other things, with so many other programs, be it through our CSI programs, be it through our Golf Day fundraising initiatives, but that's how we are trying in our own little corner, trying to be the leaders we wish we had when we were youngsters.
Thank you very much for that. You know, earlier on, you just gave us a glimpse of ProServe, you know, when you founded it 2007 and then how it then became the company 2009.
Yeah.
And by your own words, you also actually say on reflection, you realize that you've worked more at ProServe, you know, than in the industry. I mean, it's like 18 years later.
Yeah.
So what would you say to us? What was your vision when you founded that company? And when you look back, do you think that you've achieved that? Because surely it takes vision to be sitting here 18 years later, even after COVID, it takes vision.
Yep.
And to be sitting here with the recognition that we will get into right now with the following questions.
Yeah. So, Nomvula, vision, I believe it's forever evolving. So, the vision of 2010 is very different from our vision of 2025 now. But to answer your question more directly, when I started out, I wanted to achieve, amongst other things, one, create a home for young graduates and make sure that they convert from being a candidate to professionals in the least amount of time. And this was sparked by, I realized that amongst my peers, people were taking 9, 10, 15 years to register. And the question is why? The question was why? And we thought, how about we do our own thing and make sure that we convert people? We make it intentional, that we are going to take you straight from varsity, minimum 3 years, minimum 4 years if you're a PM, QS 3 years or so, that will convert you from being a candidate to being a professional. That was the vision. Create an environment that gives graduates a feeling of, here, I'm not here to be, I'll use the word a skivvy. I'm actually here to be treated as an upcoming professional. Manage project, be involved from day one, be involved in all stages, and actively participate in the projects. You know, it's one of the things that you'll see that will come out is that we've got an active mentorship program. And part of the vision was to say, how do we create an industry, or how do we participate in an industry that is clearly defined already? From this level, you move to this next level, this level, from this one to that one. It must be a clear, almost like, call it a career path, for lack of a better word. That's on the one part. On the second part, it was to say, how do we increase the number of females in our industry? You know, starting from the days in varsity, Anthony, in our classrooms back in the days, there would be, more of us guys than there would be of ladies. And the issue was, we need to create balance. There has to be some sort of a balance there. So it's one of the things that we are actively working towards, and even today, it's something that we are intentional about doing, increasing the number of female representation in our industry, especially at professional level.
Okay.
I agree that you feel quite strongly about that point. Although we are not here for that today, I think it is worth mentioning that Thabang Mbembele is also a council member of the SACPCMP and also a council member of the CBE, which is a council for the built environment, where I believe that you are advancing, you know, what you believe in making change within the industry. Just to go further on now, before we come now to the issue of why we are interviewing you today, a last one.
Yep.
16, 17 years later, how would you say has PrOSOF evolved compared to your initial vision? And what do you consider your biggest milestone? You did indicate that, vision also, evolves over time. So can you just share with us how has it evolved? You might have started and said, okay, I'm doing project management if that was the initial.
Yeah.
So how has it evolved, and what is the biggest milestone?
Yeah, let me start with answering the part about the biggest milestone. Look, I'm proud to say that our biggest milestone to date is the fact that we're operating in, we've got a global footprint, which is, it's not a small thing, at least from where we come from.
Yes.
It's not a small thing. We are working on projects that are, I'd call them premium projects, decent projects that when you look at, you say, wow, that's actually going to add value. This will change the lives of people. And the kind of projects that only a few amongst us as professionals would have done in our lifetime. One of the flexes that I always say to some of my colleagues is to say, we're one of few companies that can claim that they've done land ports, seaports, and airports. I mean, that's a big thing on its own, So yeah, and when we started out as well, we were very clear as to say we want to follow things like PMUs and PMOs. It's one of the tick boxes that we had amongst our milestones as a company, that we need to pioneer this thing and we need to be at the forefront of this thing. In terms of our vision changing over the years, the vision, like I said earlier on, it's not cast in concrete. It's like strategy. It's never cast in concrete. It evolves. As and when you grow, you see better, you understand better, you want better. You have more brains around the table. I mean, the vision of 2010 only had one executive on the table. Now there's a couple of us around the table. So that vision is completely different.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically, that's where we are now.
Construction industry, Anthony, we go to what is familiar. He says it's not cast in concrete. We used to say it's not cast in stone. Well, let's go to the details now about the win. You've heard that Anthony is saying it's a multi-award-winning CEO. We are now getting to the details of that. But before we do that, let us just look at the win. Then we will come to the questions for you to get more information.
A prestigious award that recognizes a quantitative firm, outstanding performance, achievements, and contribution to the construction industry. And the awards goes to PrOSOF Consulting.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the Surveyor Firm of the Year.
Construction Project Manager of the Year Award. This award highlights the leadership role of a project manager. It has several categories, including Outstanding Project Manager, Outstanding Young Project Manager, and Innovator of the Year. And this award goes to PrOSOF Consulting.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Construction Project of the Year.
Congratulations, Thabang and PrOSOF.
Anthony, you must say, po, 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 po.
I don't want to copy Thibaut Touch. We might have copyright issues.
I think so too, yeah.
Let's stick to the ACPM guns. But I was saying congratulations, Thabang, for the double win at the 17th Annual South African Construction Awards, which is SACA. You're calling it SACA. Well done to you and your team. It's a big feat, and usually we don't take these things lightly. So in just going into that, so winning the Construction Project Management Company of the Year through SACA, it's quite huge. And also the Quantity Surveying Firm of the Year. That is a historic achievement. at one go. What does this double win mean to you and PrCEF Consulting?
Thank you so much, Anthony. Yeah, so for me, it's a moment of where you just get filled with gratitude that it means you're doing something right.
Yeah.
And by something right, somebody's acknowledging it. Someone somewhere is looking at it and saying, wow, you're actually on the right track. But I take it as a reflection on the hard work that the team at PrCEF has put in, be it through the projects that they're engaged in, the client engagements that they do, the thought processes they apply, the strategy they put in, basically the long hours. Eventually someone is saying, we note you. We see what you guys are up to. So if anything, this just confirms all that. And I have to admit that for me, on my personal level, if I were to remove myself from PrCEF, it's a win in a sense that I've taken so many people from being candidates to being professionals as PrCEF Consulting. We've partnered up with so many government departments to do exactly that. And it's been successful, it's worked, and we'll continue to make it work. We wish to double the capacity that we've done, and I think that'll, that's something that will benefit the industry at large. So for me, that's what this whole thing means to me.
Yeah. I think there must be exhilaration at PrCEF when you got to the awards, because I think the encouragement and motivation it gives to the company as a whole is quite huge, that everybody feels part and parcel of this moving train that is hitting the market and achieving a lot of that. So we are aware that the Department of Human Settlements was the host for the SACA for recognizing excellence in the industry. Can you give an overview of what SACA represents and why it is significant for our sector?
So, Anthony, SACA is a prestigious event, and it acknowledges and celebrates outstanding contributions, innovations, and the best practices in the South African construction industry. So what is it that they look at? They look at excellence and innovation, industry benchmarking, recognition and celebration. So in summary, SACA plays a vital role in promoting excellence, innovation, and the best practices in the construction industry, while also recognizing and celebrating outstanding contributions and achievement. Essentially, that's what SACA is. And for our industry, we actually need something like this. I'd even go as far as to say we need more of these things.
Yes.
Because the more people aspire to achieve such, it can only mean our construction sites out there are doing better, are performing better. It can only mean that our individuals are doing their CPDs, are making sure that CPD points are on point, are always on time and are proper. Continuous professional development and so forth. It just means that the industry as a whole will grow.
It's positive reinforcement.
Positive reinforcement, that's correct.
Great stuff. But I believe to have achieved this both in quantity survey and project management, you must have found yourself to having to align to the requirements that you just mentioned in terms of the performance on the specific projects that you have been awarded for. So can you take us through some of those alignments that you have done in terms of the standards?
Yes. So, and then it's a simple one. These things, you have to be intentional about them. And they don't come by...
by chance.
By chance. So we were very intentional in promoting best practices, boosting morale and motivation, not only in the business, but in the industry, enhancing industry reputation through our various initiatives and things that we've done in the industry, fostering collaboration and knowledge sharing, supporting government initiatives. So we've just always made ourselves available to be a partner to government and to our clients, if I may put it that way, to say, how can we help? And how can we come up with initiatives that will actually be for the industry and work for the industry?
No, that's great. I think, Nomvula, you can
I just want
follow
to...
up.
Okay, thanks, Anthony. I just want to take up again the whole issue of the mentorship, because I don't really want to downplay it, because we need more of that when you look, at the challenges that we are faced with as an industry. I do remember, recently in a report of the CPE, they actually said across all built environment councils, we are looking at about 30,000 candidates that are struggling to upgrade, to professional. So what advice would you give to young and upcoming professional there? What key advice would you give to them, those that are aspiring to be a Thabang?
I can speak on this matter forever. How much time do we have? So,
Give us
just
a
in
short
short,
version.
the short version, the key
so sharpen your
advice.
technical skills. Sharpen your technical skills. As a PM on the PM side, I'll say, and really in a very short nutshell, understand your contracts, the relationship between time, quality, and cost. As basic as that sounds, make sure you understand it thoroughly. Take that, put it on any project, and it will make sense. Look, you need to familiarize yourself with latest software tools, AI, and what is it that the industry is moving, what direction the industry is going at. Things like Autodesk, BIM. Stay up to date with industry trends, innovations, attend conferences, be out there. There are also soft skills that we need to look at as well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Be an excellent communicator. Being a project manager, I think that's one of the key qualities that you need to have. Build strong relationship with stakeholders. Seek mentorship once again. Cultivate problem solving and critical thinking skills. As a project manager, 90% of your time, that's how you need to apply yourself. From a career development point of view, seek mentorship and guidance. I can't say that loud enough. I can't say that enough. Seek mentorship and guidance. Join industry associations and networking groups. Pursue certifications outside of the norm. For instance, in South Africa, we don't necessarily recognize other entities, example like, say, PMI, for instance, in government. It's not so much recognized. But it will not hurt you as an individual to be PMI registered.
Yes.
If anything, it will count in your favor.
Yeah.
So put yourself in a position where you have one extra. Yeah. Personal qualities, have a strong work ethic.
Eish.
Hey, that's something that we're struggling with nowadays.
The elephant in the room.
Stay organized and be adaptable. Be able to adapt. Change like that. And maintain a positive attitude. Be resilient. And the part of maintaining a positive attitude, it will also go far. It will boost you in other elements. I'll give you an example. During COVID, we needed to have this skill. Now, this is not a skill that you can be taught. It needs to be self-generated.
Yes.
Where you need to be positive and think, no, the world will come back. We'll go back on site. We'll do this. We'll do that. But if you don't have it, the chances are you'll only see the bad in things and the worst in things. And the law of attraction, Yeah.
I love the breakdown. It will definitely help, because even those that have just graduated, you don't need to wait to be in a workplace. There's some other skills, that you can acquire whilst you are waiting. Then just moving further, Thabang, what would you say? I know that mentorship is kind of like embedded, if that is the word that I can use, embedded, because even your slogan says positive impact today for tomorrow.
Of course.
So the question that I'm asking, can you share with us how crucial is mentorship in shaping the next generation of construction leaders?
So there are many benefits to mentorship. Knowledge transfer, for instance. That's key. Personal growth, career development, improved job satisfaction. When people are actually being mentored, they actually get a satisfaction in coming to work and doing their job because they've got proper guidance. They see where their careers are going. And maybe in addition to what you're saying, challenges that we've seen that's going to happen with the next construction leaders is there's going to be a skills gap. So mentorship can address skill gaps. Technological advances.
Yes.
Mentorship can address that. Sustainable and environmental concerns. Through mentorship, we can address all these things. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Only matured mentors can partake in this and make sure that these things are addressed properly and they become the norm in the workplace. So how we've done mentorship at PrCEF, to be specific, we've got formal mentorship programs. We assign everyone with a mentee with a mentor, and you've got a proper journey to registration. So you don't guess as to when is what going to happen.
Yeah.
It's a proper journey. We've embedded this so deeply that it's in the KPIs of the managers, and those that are responsible are linked with or are tasked with the responsibility of mentoring others, that how many did you produce this year? Or how many did you get over the line this year? That's how serious this thing is taken. And it would be great if all industry players could have something like this. Then we would not struggle with getting skills in the market.
Okay.
You've actually addressed my next question when I was going to ask what are the skills that would be necessary. But being one of the very few corporates of the ACPM, where you had government officials or candidates seconded to your company, I think it's over now 6-7 years. And I know, let me say specifically Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, what we've often found is that sometimes there's a challenge in registering or upgrading to professional, because within their workplace, they are not exposed to all of the knowledge areas that are needed. But now, in terms of what we have done at PrCEF from a mentorship point of view, mentoring candidates who've been seconded from public works, there's that transition from public to private and from private to public. What advice would you give government in terms of what you've seen the gaps to be in that mentorship journey?
Yeah. So it's a standard one, Nomvula, and I think they've already started implementing some of it. Second, as many as possible of your graduates, of your bursary holders, to private companies to go get the proper mentorship. And remember, on the other side, there's something called reverse mentorship as well, ne?
Yes.
Where they also get to mentor us on their processes in government.
Yes.
Okay.
So it works either way. And even the young guys who just came out of varsity, who join our entity, it's not always one-sided.
Yeah.
I find that I'm actually the biggest beneficiary in my personal capacity of the reverse mentorship.
Yeah.
Where I've got these youngsters who know how to use LinkedIn and all these fancy things that I think I was born way before them. And
They say you are a BBT, born before technology.
Exactly. They are the ones now telling us, no, actually, this is the right way to do it. This is how this technology works, and this is how this works. So reverse mentorship also works. And then we take this mentorship program so seriously that last year we opened the PrCEF Leadership Academy.
Beautiful.
The purpose of doing that was to say, in as much as we get all these people seconded to a company, we are giving them technical skills. But what are we doing on the other skills that I've mentioned here
Yes.
that can augment them as professionals as and when they go out to the world? The academy is led by Gibbs Lectures. So the curriculum talks to all the issues that I've spoken about. So it's not just you're measuring your typical built environment qualifications that you already have. The university you came from has already taught you that. But it's the other stuff that PLA actually addresses.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that PLA will attract a huge number this year. We're hoping to attract even more people than we did last year. And the thought behind PLA last year was to say, we want to start grooming our own leaders. This thing of going to the market every time we need to employ a manager.
Hey.
Anthony, you would know, my friend, that currently now, in this day and age, if you put an advert out that you want to employ a registered construction project manager, it will take you 6 months to fill that post. It will take you 6 months. So we've decided we are going to create our own managers because it's just not working the way we want it to work. And this obviously, in the main, it will also benefit the industry at large as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think following up on that, very interesting journeys that are being treaded on from your side in terms of the Leadership Academy. I think as we go, the only thing you can do is to give back. And I think that is a very strong path to take in terms of giving back and leaving that legacy in the industry, also from a sustainability point of view, as you've spoken. We've spoken about BEAM, we've spoken about AI transforming the industry, technology, and that I don't want to go into that. But I want to dive a little bit into the gap that you've also mentioned. As much as we are trying as business leaders to bridge the gap for mentorship, I've equally also find there's a challenge on uptake of that program from the mentees as well, right? Because there's this get-rich-quick scheme thinking.
Yep.
So now how do we address that? Because I was looking at one of the IDs in the office the other day, and I was like, for one of our staff, like October 1994. So I looked at it and I'm like, no, man, that was the time Mandela was becoming president, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That's when this person was being born.
And
So
a proper bond, yeah? A proper bond.
So I got some sort of like a reflection sitting on my desk to say, these are the people that we are trying to bring up and upscale. But they come from a different generational thinking, right?
Including challenges.
And including those new challenges as well that they need to face. And here we are singing, you've got to wait and learn a little bit for 3-4 years and get across the line. Meanwhile, these people want to be in the seat that you are sitting in right now. How do we deal with that, Thabang?
Should I start by saying maybe we are victims of our success? You've made it look so good and so easy that even someone that just left varsity yesterday, they believe they can do it.
They can do it,
Yeah.
yes.
So to a certain extent, yeah, I think you understand what I've just said. But nonetheless, yeah, this will be an individual thing.
Yeah.
We need to make people aware that they need to be aware of it. That before they started walking, they needed to crawl. And before they started running, they needed to walk. This thing, it goes in phases.
Yeah.
And one has to go through all the phases. You know the thing about this thing, you can't cheat a phase.
Yeah.
You can't bypass a phase. You need to go through all the stages to get to where you really want to be. There's no shortcut to this thing. There is no get rich, or especially in our industry.
There's
it's
no
not
way.
there.
The foundation has to come before the roof.
Exactly. There's no other way. Yeah. There's no other way.
For you to be skilled, seasoned, and recognized,
Yeah.
you need all of that.
It comes with time and with age as well.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's great. Thanks for that. I just wanted our youngsters to always hear that. Because
So
it
maybe one of
seems
the things
like,
we could do during our mentorship programs, those are the soft conversations we are to have with them.
yeah.
Yes.
Maybe we have to say to them, look, ultimately, this is where you might or you will end up.
Yes.
But for you to get here, this is the journey. This is the roadmap.
Yeah. Exactly.
We've actually started it last year. It's called the Student Mentorship Hour, where we're just getting in that. It was launched by Anthony and the president of the SACPCMP. And students said, we really need to hear this conversation. Where there's no agenda, whatever, it's just conversation, and then they ask questions.
Yes.
And it's even nice when it's driven from them, because then you get to understand and hear where their thinking is, where their mind is at. So those are some of the things. And that is why we are even having this Spotlight podcast, because now those that would not have access to Anthony because they are not at Akweni, or to you because they are not at PrCPM,
Of course.
at least through these sessions they are able,
You've
to start
democratized
to
it,
learn.
basically.
Yes.
No, great stuff. I think I was even making a joke with some of our guys in the office that the time we were leaving varsity, we had to apply for in-service training. Those days we had what you call in-service training for 1 year. Not for 3 months, not for 6 months, for 1 full year. So you had to apply to companies. And those days we didn't have all these fancy technologies. We had to fax.
You're giving away your age, Anthony.
It's okay. We had to fax your application, meaning your CVs and all those things, fax, and you get a fax report that says it went through. It didn't.
Delivered or not.
And there's no response.
So I remember that particular year, I faxed about 97 applications. And only one company responded to those applications that I did. I was in PE at the time. The company was in Cape Town. What choice did I have? I said, okay. It was November, going to December. School was about to close. They wanted me to start in January the next year. I had to find a plan. I found myself in Cape Town, and I started working in Cape Town for that particular firm, because what I was interested in most is to gain that experience. Whether it was in the trenches or whether it was in the office or whatever form it came in. So these are some of the journeys that we speak about when you talk about having those sessions for the youngsters, so that they really, really understand that their platform is actually much easier nowadays than what we had at the time. So for you to then move forward with a little bit of adjustment and change, it's really nothing. I think Thabang can attest to that. I mean, we found ourselves at a particular company at some point, as you were saying, where we were learning the ropes from a property development point of view. We found ourselves there together at some point. And that's when the idea started to come that we need to try and do this for ourselves. And today, that is history. So it's those journeys. I just wanted to take a chip in. But Thabang, coming back to ProServe, you've ran a long journey. As we discussed, the vision has it had many different phases to it. I always say in our industry as a project manager, if you can experience at least 4 different types of feelings in a day, then you're not a project manager.
You're right. Spot on. Spot on.
What are the 4 different feelings?
At least. I'm talking about
and you need to suffer from a bit of schizophrenia.
Yes.
Every now and again.
Just to knock to yourself and see whether you are still alive.
Just talk to yourself. Have a full-blown conversation with yourself.
And people don't understand it when you talk about it, because you can get so angry, you can laugh, right? In the same day, and you can get a call that gets you to the moon and a call that says something is wrong on site. So your emotional state, it's like a roller coaster as a project manager.
And that's all on one project.
It's all on one project. Now you've got multiple projects with all those things coming to hit you. The question really is, how do you leave a legacy in all this? How do you leave a legacy? How do you actually make the people you are sustaining to be able to see that full picture to the end? Because the legacy must grow beyond us.
So Anthony, I come from a school of thought that says you must live the legacy. You mustn't plan to live it. You must live it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a legacy must be a lived experience. So what's my lived experience? What is it that I want the people who interact with ProServe Consulting, stakeholders, colleagues, clients, whoever, clients, communities, anybody that interacts with ProServe, I want them to experience the lived experience, ProServe. And what is that? Positive impact today for tomorrow. Now, take that through a CSI program that applies. Take it through projects that we are executing on site that applies. Take it through the mentorship that we do with people in our offices that applies. Take it through any sphere of our business, if I may call it that. Positive impact today for tomorrow. So simply put, do good thinking of tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's something that it must just be there. Yes, then we'll sit and say, what would I want to see as Thabang? You'd want to contribute positively in terms of innovation, digital transformation, and make sure that not only the business but the industry is actually moving in that way. Before the interview, we had a side conversation with Anthony around this to say, our industry is always on the slow start of things, especially technology.
Yeah.
BIM, for instance, has been around for years, but we are slow starters because you need collaboration and agreement from other parties to make it work. It doesn't help your office has it, but the architects, engineers, and so forth, and everybody else that you work with doesn't have it,
Yeah.
it's going to slow you down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you need to almost drive the client. That must be a client-driven initiative.
Yeah.
Say, clients, as part of these appointment letters, please state that this will be done, be it is paid through a disbursement or it's paid in whatever format, and ultimately, it's the client who will benefit from this thing. So it's important that we look at it from that point of view. But part of the legacy that we'd want to be remembered for and that we are living on a daily basis is our corporate social responsibility. And then if we don't just speak these things, we are intentional about them. These are things that we do passionately, so without fail. You know, in doing all these things and doing them actively on a daily basis, then a legacy will be created. But we can't think of some legacy that's sitting there in the future, a future that we don't know, a future that we have not seen. So it must be a lived experience. So if we are to create legacies, we must start here and now. So you could ask, what was our legacy 3 years ago? It's what I did 3 years ago. Just look at my history. Look at what we did 3 years ago. That's what we did.
All right, Thabang, I think that is great. I hope the viewers are benefiting from this. Just one last question from me. If consultants, clients, contractors, stakeholders that you perform services for, if I was to ask them independently, what is the one word that describes PrCPM?
Dependable. Dependable. You can depend on us.
It's like answered it like that's
Dependable.
No, he knows his brand.
Dependable. Yeah. You know what? Your reputation is everything.
Yeah.
And if people cannot depend on you, if people cannot predict you, they cannot trust you.
Yeah.
Anthony, it's as simple as this. If we are driving on the N1 and I cannot predict what the driver in front of me is going to do, chances I'll be in an accident.
Yeah, definitely.
But because we all go to the same driving school, well, assume we go to good driving schools, I should be able to predict that when you indicate left, you are actually going to turn left.
Yeah.
That's why there are no accidents. So with PrCPM, we carry ourselves as a dependable brand. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's great. I think that's it from me, Nomvula.
There you have it. We've come to the end of the interview with Thabang Mbembele, PrCPM Group. Let me add now, because we also want to be recognized for as part of this double win. PrCPM Group is a corporate member of the ACPM.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Yeah.
And obviously, as you've outlined the criteria, with all of the input that you've made, we fully understand, the win and to more wins in
Thank you.
future. And the earlier question I asked you to say, do you think that you are the leader you wish you had? I've been marking. You are at 90%. Based on the answers that you've given.
Thank you.
But one last word from you as we finish off the episode.
So, and I answered someone at the same award ceremony. Someone came and asked me a similar question. And my answer to them was, it's not what we do, it's how we do it that differentiates us. So that statement is true to you as a young candidate at home, student at varsity, or another fellow business person. Just remember this, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. That will differentiate you, and that will make you a brand that you aspire to be. But thank you so much. This has been great.
Okay. Thanks to our audience. Thanks to the host, Anthony AFORDOFE. Thanks to you, Thabang, and Oxano 7, our studio. So with that said, we close the interview, but we close it with a recap of the awards, the reason why we are here. Thank you very much.
A prestigious award that recognizes a quantity-surveying firm, outstanding performance, achievements, and contribution to the construction industry. And the awards goes to PrCPM Consulting.
and gentlemen, a round of applause for Quantity Surveyor Firm of the Year.
Construction Project Manager of the Year Award. This award highlights the leadership role of a project manager. It has several categories, including Outstanding Project Manager, Outstanding Young Project Manager, and Innovator of the Year. And this award goes to PrCMentor Consulting.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Construction Project of